Hey, what's up, guys? This is our newest episode of the Injustice Podcast.
And we are doing...
Time to stop.
It's time to stop!
Cinematic universes, you know.
Yeah, because they're... Apparently, Hollywood...
Has a hard-on for cinematic universes.
They're all the rage right now. I don't know why. I mean, you've got...
No, I mean, they only work for, heroes genres. Like, anything else, maybe... If you play it right, yes, but they're just overdoing it now.
The whole reason this is a thing, let's take it all the way back.
All the way back.
To Iron Man Uno. The reason that Marvel is so good, and they can take the chances they're doing now is because they've been marinating this cinematic universe in this giant crock pot for the last 10 years.
Right.
That's the only reason we're getting Infinity War.
Well, see, like, there's certain things to me that, like, from this point of view, it's like Marvel, it makes sense. DC, it makes sense. Even Star Wars to me, because you had the expanded universe of novels and whatnot. That makes sense, and I give those three properties a pass.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to sound like I'm Marvel and Star Wars biased because I love Disney, but even DC deserves to have a cinematic universe.
Although in the beginning, let's be honest, the first two DC
up until Wonder
films,
Woman, I mean, I think Man of Steel. I actually loved Man of Steel. I'm going to say that right off the bat. I loved Man of Steel, but I think Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman were disappointing.
Those two movies struggled.
Yeah, they struggled. They had points. There were certain... I will say this, though. I enjoyed those movies.
I mean, Batman vs. Superman had so much world-building BS in it. It was, not to say...
It was literally 5 or 6 movies in one movie.
Not to call the whole movie BS, but, there was so much...
BS.
There was so much stuff crammed in there that they just had to get in there so they could shoehorn it in. The way they did it was okay. But apart from those three properties that you named, we don't need a dark universe or a friggin' Transformers universe. And the only other one that I'm getting a pass on, just because I can't wait to see it, is the Godzilla King Kong universe.
It's called the Monster Universe.
I wasn't sure because Dark Universe is monsters.
Yeah, that's Dark Universe, which even then. That's actually technically a ripoff because Dark Universe is actually a DC property.
Yeah, and then actually, let's get into that real quick. The fact that
I don't see this Dark Universe going.
Not just that. They put the cart before the horse on that one because The Mummy was not. It wasn't very good.
It was definitely one of Tom Cruise's weakest films.
And on top of that. They funneled down your throat with so much world building. It's not make a good movie first.
I didn't see
make a good movie.
It felt like because with these. Okay, so here's the thing I'll say is that for any of you guys don't know, Alex Kurtzman was the director and writer, if I'm not mistaken, of The Mummy. Alex Kurtzman is the same guy who was the one that wanted to make the Amazing Spider-Man cinematic universe.
So let's bring in the guy who took a crap on Spider-Man, basically.
So, and he also gave us the best Transformers film and the worst Transformers film.
So so you're telling me there's no middle road with this guy?
Listen, Transformers 1 was the best Transformers film,
yes.
And Transformers 2 was the worst Transformers film, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people agree with that. Revenge of the Fallen was absolute trash. So,
I'm raising my hand.
Oh, I was like, you have a question? It's like, sir, microphone.
Please, sir, may
I ask a question? But no. So Alex Kurtzman has done a lot of stuff and some good things too. Because Transformers 1 was good.
There's a universe we didn't bring up. Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man. The freaking Sony Venom universe thing that they're gonna make because
I can tell you right now, they're gonna figure out a way to
BS it.
No. They're gonna figure out a way to get
Tom Holland
to get Spider-Man in there somehow. There's no way you make a Spider-Man antagonist universe where you have the anti-heroes and the villains with no Spider-Man, because if you look at Batman's villains, it's like Gotham. Like, you can't. That's why they struggled at the beginning, because it's like the whole purpose of the Batman's villains being in existence is that Batman inadvertently, in some way, created his own villains.
Yeah,
and the same thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man, like with Eddie Brock and the symbiote with him attaching.
Also something else that I don't like about this concept is, okay, so time out. So you're gonna tell me that Eddie Brock, being played as Tom Hardy, is gonna have some beef with a kid that's still in high school, and he's probably 30
if
or
he
40
stops
years
him,
old.
If they do it right, they write it well.
Isn't that for the symbiote?
Listen, though, that's what I'm saying. If they write it well, he could have Peter Parker. Like, he could be a criminal, and Peter Parker could stop him from like getting money he needs to like help out like a family member
Or something like
that.
that.
It could
They
be
end up dying.
something. You can have something where he has a
something like
compelling.
that.
There's a very easy way for them to make a compelling reason for him not to like Spider-Man. But anyways, we're getting our point here.
Yeah, sorry.
Is that ever since Marvel debuted their cinematic universe,
Everyone's
had the unnecessary need to make everything a universe and have everything
Because
connected.
they see how much success Marvel is having.
But
and
again,
has
like,
had.
that
And
works
that
for
will
Marvel.
have.
That works for Marvel,
Because-
and it works for DC if they do things right. And Star Wars, it's cool because you had the canon and legends and the novels and the comics and the films and everything.
And the video games.
And they all tie in. So like you have the Star Wars franchise, you have a video game and a film coming out this year that take place in the same universe. So you can have stuff that's correlated, that all are connected.
Oh,
and it's actually fascinating and actually well written. But that's the problem, is that you have The Mummy, which I was very excited for, actually, because I was
so
The
hyped.
Mummy, the Dracula, Creature from the Black
I was
Lagoon.
so hyped.
Oh, yeah.
That was my, if I remember correctly, that was my most anticipated movie of the summer. Like, going into the summer, I was
non-comic book related.
non-comic book related, but
We all know Spider-Man or Guardians or something.
that movie, I was excited for it because I was thinking, oh man, they've got Tom Cruise. This looks great. It looks good. And then they started debuting trailers, and especially one with no sound. But
they were trying to rush the fun fact for all of you guys who don't know that little bit, but they tried to rush out the trailer for whatever reason, and they accidentally released it with no music.
Yeah.
It just had the audio of like Tom Cruise yelling,
and it was so
the plane is literally falling, and it's literally just Tom Cruise yelling with no dramatic music, no plane sounds, and I'm like, this is so weird. I'm like, anyway, I don't necessarily blame the marketing. The film itself really hid the fact that movie was like not good.
Yeah,
because like the film had all the weird humor, and I'm like,
really weird spots, and just like,
and I'm like, I was wanting this movie to be dark. Like, you call it the dark universe, make your film dark. Like, I'm not saying you have to have dark, but I'm saying like, don't let it be like, you can have little bits of humor, but
make sure they're well placed and not cringeworthy.
Like, it's bad when the Mummy film. Like, okay, I would rather go back and watch Mummy. What's the third Mummy film with Brendan Fraser? The Curse of the Dragon. Something like that. It's bad when you
comment below if you know the title. Because
it's bad when you want to go and watch the third Mummy film with Brendan Fraser, where they didn't even have Rachel Weisz as his wife. And I'm like, when you want to go watch that movie over watching the Mummy reboot that takes place in a universe where every monster movie exists, that's pretty bad. So that exists. So Dark Universe, go away. Like, I mean, based off the reaction and based off the how much money it's made, I would be surprised if Universal actually goes and
plus all their main guys are now in their mid 40s and 50s.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's like, what is it?
They got
Johnny Depp,
they've got really good
Russell
actors,
Crowe,
but
and Tom Cruise are all in their 50s,
and they're all
And Javier Bardem too, isn't it?
And
Javier? Yeah.
Javier Bardem's probably the only person in that group that isn't past their prime. I would, and by prime, I don't mean like they can't act anymore. I mean
what's good is that Tom Cruise doesn't.
Their box office full. Like that's.
Well, Tom Cruise, like he's so well, like he keeps in shape. Like
Yeah.
I don't mind Tom Cruise as much, but like Russell Crowe's Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you don't necessarily need to have a older, like, I mean, you don't need to have a really like agile moving character with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and the same thing with like Frankenstein's monster.
Considering Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is literally the inspiration for the Hulk. I mean,
well, that and the fact that I did kind of find it disappointing that like it's like Prodigium is they have like the shield of like.
No, like okay, this is basically I just realized something. This is basically the honest trailer review. You saw the video, right?
I saw it, but I didn't even. I mean, I thought the same thing when that happened. I was like, oh man, they think the same thing that like I do. I think a lot of people have that thought, and I'm like
the thing is, they tried to.
And Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde's basically Nick Fury.
They tried to like if they would have had like if I would have go back and rewrite this movie, I would have written it not like make it a good film first, and then have a Nick Fury-esque cameo at the end of it.
I wouldn't have started with The Mummy. That's my. I'll tell you right now. I would not have started with The Mummy.
With like Dracula or something.
I would have started with
Dracula.
I think The Mummy. I don't know. I mean, you could have made it work with The Mummy, but I just feel like the Tom Cruise's character was not likable, and
the love interest wasn't even likable.
And his whole turning into the character that he turns into by the end of the film.
I think it's what the.
Well, I'm trying not to spoil it for like.
Oh wait, yeah.
Because this is not a spoiler thing, but like the character that he kind of develops into by the end of the film, that was like very kind of weak. I'm like, you get Tom Cruise and that's what you want to go for, and I'm like, I would have put. I really liked the whole idea when they said they were trying to make Tom Cruise like he's actually Van Helsing, but he doesn't. I was like, that would actually be very interesting. And I'll just say that right. I'll tell you right now, they don't go that route, and that's very disappointing.
And so let's put that one to bed. The one that I'm actually the only other
Sony Spider-Man universe.
Well, we've kind of gone through those two. The one that the only other one that I'm kind of like the only other one I'm on board for is the Monsters universe with Godzilla and King Kong.
Let's see how Godzilla 2 does.
They've got his three most iconic bad guy, his three most iconic like rogues or whatever.
They say Rodan, King Ghidorah, and Mothra, right?
Yeah, his three biggest bad guys he's going up against those three in one movie.
We can go on that where we're all okay. We're all okay for that. I think that's kind of something that I'm like, because I liked the original Godzilla film from 2014, and I liked Kong Skull Island.
I think Kong Skull Island was like
it was a little uneven at parts.
Like if you've got if you're putting those two movies side by side, Godzilla is definitely Iron Man. It hit out of the park.
I'd say
it did.
I'd say Kong Skull Island would be more like Captain America: First Avenger, where it's like the period piece.
It's good, but
it's not as good as like. I don't know. I really enjoyed it because at least you got a monster movie.
I mean, you have a David versus Goliath.
I'm just hoping, I just really hope that, once they get this universe set up, because correct me if I'm wrong, but both those properties are owned by the same people that do Pacific Rim, right? Warner Brothers.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. Pacific Rim is in the future, so unless you're going to just jump.
They'll ruin it if they do that.
They're not going to, but that would be a
Godzilla won't wreck them.
Yeah,
I mean, neutron blast.
You look at the Jaegers. The Jaegers are like Godzilla is bigger than a Jaeger, unless they advance. But anyways, so we're okay for the Godzilla and King Kong monster universe. I think the Dark Universe really, if they want to come back, they got to retool it. They gotta try to do some things differently.
Like if they want to keep on the same timeline, just stay on the same timeline. Just
they need to know. They really need to like. That's what I'm saying. They need to like sit down. I'll say right now, Transformers. They are currently shooting the Bumblebee spinoff with Haley Steinfeld and John Cena. So no one's gonna see at least one of the stars of this film because he's not in this movie, even though he's on. Sorry, I had to make that joke. But I mean, you have a Bumblebee spinoff, and I'm like, and it's set. Supposedly, it's set in the '80s. So I'm like, again, that to me that contradicts everything because we saw that unless they're gonna retcon it and say, oh no, Bumblebee like landed and then left and then came back because all the Autobots landed in the first film
at the exact same time,
and they said Bumblebee landed like right before all the other Autobots did. So I'm like, so why are you making this bullshit?
Retcon. But yeah.
So the Transformers franchise is crap.
There's a certain formula you have to make these universes click.
Right.
But
it's all about writing. I think a lot of people will tell you need like a good director, you need good actors and etc.
I mean, those are
look at the Marvel films. You have somebody like Kevin Feige overlooking and overseeing the planning of the franchise. Their follow-up to The Mummy is Bride of Frankenstein. Of all of the characters, it has nothing to do with the fact that it's a female character or anything like that. But I'm like, out of all the films you're gonna pick, random. I'm like, you're not gonna pick Creature from the Black Lagoon. You're not gonna pick Swamp Thing. You're not gonna pick, you're not gonna pick Dracula or Frankenstein or the Hollow Man or anything. You're gonna pick
the
Bride of Frankenstein as your follow-up, and I'm like, why? Like.
I mean,
why?
You've got Kevin Feige over here, literally paying attention to every minute detail, down to the trailers they're gonna release.
And that's what I'm saying. You have too many. Like they have these writers' rooms where they go, "Oh look, with the Transformers franchise, we're like, well, let's get Robert Kirkman, Alex Kurtzman, like Josh Whedon, like all these actors and writers and stuff." But I'm like, how come you get all these writers and all these people chipping in ideas, but then what you're going to do is you're still going to put Michael Bay as the director, and you're still going to have a explosion-filled, Budweiser commercial
with American flags,
and low cut shots of women's asses coming out of a car and sunsets and stuff like that. I'm like, get Michael Bay away from Transformers.
I do like the golden hour. I do like the golden hour shots though. Like that's the one thing I do like about Michael Bay films. The amount he shoots in golden hour, just keep it up. But
I don't know. So anyway, Transformers, I don't see why that needs a cinematic universe. I feel like as a franchise, like I understand it as a franchise.
It's starting to go the way of the Fast and Furious franchise. Like it's.
And that's another thing too. Like, why are we getting spin-offs of Fast and Furious? Keep it to me.
Different video, different time.
No, seriously, like Fast and Furious.
Based off of street racing, now it's just action, and you got.
I don't mind that. I don't mind Fast and Furious evolving because to me, Fast 5 is probably my favorite Fast and Furious when they had the whole heist elements and still had the original crew and there were stakes, but like. With the loss of Paul Walker, and with the whole making so this is from years ago. So it's if you haven't seen that by now, it's a spoiler, but whatever. But from Tokyo Drift, we find out that it was actually. I mean, we don't get it. It doesn't reveal until Fast and Furious 6, but. Jason Statham's character Deckard Shaw is the one that kills Han in the events of Tokyo Drift. But yet, they're all working together like hunky-dory, and now they're like brothers. And I'm like, this dude literally killed Han. Like, he literally murdered Han. And I'm like...
Blew him up.
And I'm like, are we just not going to acknowledge the fact that, like, now you're like, hey, like, The Rock and Jason Statham are getting a spin-off film. But then I'm like, you literally are shaking hands with a dude that killed your brother who's been with you since like the first Fast and Furious film.
Right.
Like, you guys need to get your priorities together.
But I mean, I think that's. I mean, I feel like we've kind of to stop beating this already dead horse. I mean, overall, movie franchise. I mean, movie universes.
Oh, the horror. Okay, this one irks me. So we started off, guys. I mean, I feel like we should talk about it, especially with October coming up and fast approaching. You have Conjuring 1 is released, which is a really good horror film. Mm-hmm. I loved The Conjuring. Then Conjuring 2 is released. Was Annabelle released before Conjuring 2?
I think so. I think so.
So they had the Annabelle spinoff, which was not that good. Like, it was just basically filled with jump scares, and it was whatever. And then they had Conjuring 2,
yeah.
And now they've had Annabelle Creation. And I'm like, these films, you had the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren are real people. They were like actual paranormal investigators.
And now they're throwing this into.
And now you're going to this territory of they were like these supernatural ghost hunters, and now the doll, and now you're gonna have a spinoff of the Nun. I'm like, guys. I'm like, you're taking these characters who are actual real people, and this was based off of cases that they did, and I'm like, you're trying to milk it into a franchise where now you're saying that you had the Nun, and I'm like, just make the film. These don't have to be connected. I actually thought Annabelle Creation actually was a step up from Annabelle, in my opinion. But I just feel why are we making a universe about horror films? If you're going to make a franchise, I will say this, and I think you guys would agree with me. If you're going to make a franchise about anything with to do with horror, make the slasher universe. Make Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, Michael Myers.
Make all those connected, please.
Which I thought...
Actually, that's a good idea. You heard it first, right here, slasher horror universe, get it done.
I know this isn't the first time they talked about it. I didn't come up with the idea.
Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy versus Jason, but I'm like, again, I understand that, we're going to try to wrap it up here soon, but, the Freddy and Jason, for what happened, it didn't make a lot of money, because I remember listening to John Campia's podcast. Mm-hmm. Well, now he retooled it. It's the John Campia Show. But he actually was discussing this on one of his, mailbag episodes, and he was saying how the film really didn't make a whole lot of money like they thought it was going to make. And so those are your two key, tentpole, slashers. Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees.
Well, and Michael Myers.
The thing is with... Michael Myers, yes, but if you ask somebody, for real, if you had to pick those three and you said you had to pick 2 out of 3... people are going to bump Michael Myers out of the...
Those are two flagship.
Depending on who you ask, but I guarantee you, if you have a huge majority, if you get a bunch of just all horror fans, or maybe just general audiences, and you put a picture of Jason Voorhees, a picture of Freddy Krueger, and a picture of Mike Myers. Except unless you're like those kind of John Carpenter with Halloween movie buffs or whatever, I feel like Jason's got the upper hand to edge out. I feel like Freddy Krueger to me is the most iconic, actually, almost more than Jason.
Well, because I think we're getting a little off topic here, but because those movies are he's attacking in your dreams, where the one place you're safe, you're not safe.
Right, and so, but to go off that, to me that's, without trying to go off the topic, I feel like that is something that, even though the problem with that is that it won't happen because, all these characters are owned by different studios. You have, I think Freddy and Jason are owned by, New Line, and Leatherface is owned by, not Universal.
Lions? No, not Lions.
Maybe it might be Lionsgate, but, all these characters exist...
They
all exist in different properties.
So yeah, it would take a lot to do to.
It's not like Marvel and Sony, where 2 studios are getting together and sharing one character.
You've got 4 different studios that they would have to sit down and try to hash something out to where all these studios
could benefit
resources.
Yeah, they could benefit.
And that's
impossible. That's impossible.
Crap. So
if it is, it'll take years.
But I think that's a take. So.
Ian, really quick, just take a few minutes, because I'd like to hear some of your thoughts. Out of the few franchises we mentioned, like Transformers, Dark Universe, any of those that you maybe disagree with? Because like you've been kind of a little quiet on this episode.
Well, I'm not so much into horror, but like the slasher universe, if that was gonna happen, like I said, since you said they're owned by different studios, the first thing before they even get any other film production or aspects out the way is the studios are gonna have to meet up. They're gonna have to, like what Jacob said,
Hash everything out.
Yeah,
and
that can take months or years.
Oh man, it'd take years.
You've got, the only, like, how long did it take for the Sony Spider-Man thing to get hashed
That took
out?
like I think almost 2 years, at least for public knowledge. But I mean,
privately it might have been going on
longer than that. But I mean, okay, what I was thinking, trying to gear more towards, since we have a few more minutes left, is that, like, I completely think that not Star Wars, that the Transformers universe is a terrible idea. Dark Universe, terrible idea. The Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man is a terrible idea. So I mean, like, any of those that you disagree with, and I'm saying, like, are any of those, or do you kind of have the same agreement that, like?
I mean, if they play the cards right with the Dark Universe, I think it could work. But don't like make it DC Marvel status where they all come together in one movie. Just keep them in their separate rights, but all keep them in the same being.
Yeah, I'm like, to me, that's the kind of thing I have an issue with, is that we have, like, all these characters. I'm like, you can't really have them all meet up unless they're all trying to kill each other. So I'm like, I don't see a universe where like Frankenstein and Dracula
fight something.
I'm like, what are you gonna do? You can have them, like, what is worse than all of them put together? I'm like, then basically you're saying that
there's something worse than all them.
Yeah, I'm like, you have Dracula, the Lord of the Undead, and like Frankenstein, the unkillable man, Hollow Man, the man, that can't be seen, the Bride of Frankenstein, like the Woman of Hell, like the Creature of the Black Lagoon, the Terror of the Deep, and something, and all these other characters. I'm like, to me, like, Thanos for, like, the Avengers with a fully souped up Infinity Gauntlet, okay, but, like,
that makes a lot of sense.
Like, makes sense, but I'm like, what on God? Like, do you get Cthulhu? Like, what are they fighting?
That's all for today's episode. Thank you guys for watching.
And be sure to like this video and subscribe.
And click the link in the description below to follow us on social media.
See you guys next time.